What's going on? Thank you for tuning into TMP 119. We got a lot to break down as always. This past weekend, Glory 19. We'll touch on that briefly, go over the results. PEDs, man, it is an epidemic, as Joe Rogan said just a day or two ago on his show. It really is more and more fighters getting popped. Hector Lombard, the most recent one, his fight against Rory McDonald is canceled. We'll fight about that test. We'll talk more about PEDs in the sport, what we need to do about it, talk a little bit about this upcoming Bellator card this weekend, and of course UFC Broomfield, along with some fun fight announcements. Edgar Faber, Cormier Bader, Cerrone Habib. Let's do it.
You're listening to the MMA Podcast.
That's right. Thank you, Lenny Hart. Thank you, Smoke Serpent. Thank you, Eddie Bravo. And thank you for listening to the MMA Podcast. It's just Ramses and I tonight. What the fuck's going on, buddy?
Oh, sorry about that. I had to unmute for a second. Not much is going on. I'm enjoying life. I was doing my normal praying for the evening, and then it was time for the podcast. Before you knew it, I get great joy out of talking MMA, the latest on the MMA podcast. And I just want to say, I do have the word on the street. Follow me on Twitter, The Aunt Jimmy Show, because either they don't know, they don't show, or they don't give a fuck about what's happening in the hood, yo. Word on the street.
I gotta ask, how are things going with Katie Bear / Lexi? What is the prognosis as far as those relationships?
Dude, wow. It's like you knew or something. I didn't want to make
taxing you.
I didn't want to make a big deal or anything, but I'm engaged, dude. I'm getting married, bro.
What, dude?
Me and Katie Bear. It's going down.
That's awesome.
I just need to get the ring and ask her and see what she says. But it's going down. I'm engaged to Katie Bear, and Lexi's gonna be like a side dish, but like she's more like a B-side of a badass album, and that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. Well, you can follow us on Twitter at the MMA Podcast. Visit themmapodcast.com. Personally, I'm doing fine. My stomach's been a little grumbly. I had a Alaskan reindeer hot dog, and I don't think my body's used to eating Alaskan reindeer because stomach's just been grumbling, making loud noises all damn day. But I hope I don't die. Make it through the show. We can make it all the way to the end here. Yeah, my roommate got the rattlesnake and pheasant dog. We went to biker gyms in downtown Denver. If you're ever in the area, actually pretty good. But reindeer meat, man. I don't know.
It's disgusting, man. The rattlesnake hot dog, like, do they just like keep its head like in the bun? Like,
yeah, it's sticking out, and you have to bite off the head first to get to the actual dog.
That'd be badass. I'd try that.
Yeah, I don't know if they like mix up the rattlesnake and pheasant meat and make it into a sausage, or it's just like half and half or what. But Doug said it was said it was pretty good. Really quick, want to touch on Glory 19 was actually a really fun card this past Friday at the Hampton Coliseum in Hampton, Virginia. We had a heavyweight title, Rico Verhoeven defeating Errol Zimmerman. Sort of a disheartening finish, as Rico won the fight via second round TKO, but not really by finishing Errol with strikes. Errol, I don't know, his footing looked weird. He looked off. Rico swarmed early in the first round, and I think that put Zimmerman in a weird place. I think he was definitely concussed, and his knee ended up blowing out. but I think the better fighter won. Enrico wins and defends his title. We also had a welterweight contender tournament. We had in the first round Raymond Daniels, who back at Glory 16 Denver had that amazing spinning KO kick. He defeats the Brazilian Jonathan Oliveira in the second round via TKO, a referee stoppage, just because he was so fucked up. And the tournament favorite, Nicky Holzken, actually, I don't know, he won the first round via unanimous decision. But it was, I think, a closer fight than a lot of folks will remember it. It was a very tight 29-28 that I actually thought was going to be a split. I don't know if that was the result of Nicky just starting slow and trying to conserve his energy, knowing that he would want to fight twice, or whether this Russian Alexander Stetsarenko is the real deal. We'll see about that. Nicky ended up winning the welterweight contender attorney final, just using better boxing to beat Raymond Daniels in the third round. Raymond's got a lot of impressive spinning kicks and actually landed one or two shots that seemed to hurt Nicky, but when it came down to it, it was all about the better boxing of the Dutch Holzken. We had a light heavyweight match, which was sort of weird. It was Air Force versus Navy, or Navy versus Marines, or Army versus Navy, or Coast Guard versus, I don't know what it was. But it was two branches of the military, I guess, squaring off, and two veterans, and they were amateurs. And I don't know, it's a fun concept, and I'm all about, supporting our troops, blah, 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 blah. But it was a really sloppy fight, and you could tell it was just sort of two guys with a day job doing an amateur fight, and one of them got cut open pretty badly. I think it was sort of the worst scenario possible, because it was not technical at all. It was just two big dudes swinging at each other, and one of them got cut too bad, and the fight was stopped less than a minute into the second round. The last fight we'll go over is that Joe Schilling match. Schilling, man, he probably had the knockout of 2014 in MMA with that just devastating left hook. He landed in Bellator, and he says he wants to be a three-sport athlete fighting in MMA, kickboxing, and boxing. I guess they're going to start doing those boxing cards on NBC soon. And Schilling wants to be a part of it. He defeated the Canadian Robert Thomas 3 rounds, unanimous decision. Very one-sided fight there. Looked like it might have been stopped when Schilling was landing bombs, but Thomas was able to make it through. On the undercard, nothing really of note. Francois Ambang with a really nice second round KO. Andy Risty gets back in the win column. And young talent Josh Johnsey with a third round TKO over Max Baumert. That's about it. I sort of did a monologue there because our buddy Ramses didn't see it. But aside from that, Ramses, what is it going to take to get you to watch a Glory card?
Gilbert Jamal Smith. Didn't he fight for Glory?
I don't think so.
Was that Titan?
Yeah, that was Titan, another MMA organization.
Well, some friend of mine fighter fought for Glory.
Pat Barry did for a fight. That was
that was
not good though.
That was not the person I was thinking of though. The first one that came to mind though. But the point is they need a bigger name, some sort of star, even if it's a burned out fighter. They need to do something, because you just went through the whole card like it was like UFC 185 or something. But I did not recognize any of the names at all. And
I don't know. I don't know what Glory needs to do, because, most gripes about MMA I hear about from casual fans are, the ground fighting's boring. Glory is pure stand-up. You see so many finishes, But dude, Glory 17, when they tried to do a pay-per-view card, they got an estimated 6,000 pay-per-view buys. 6,000. That's it. That's like 100 buys a state or something. That's so horrible. But yeah,
you got to start somewhere, man. How many buys did you? Well, actually, UFC 1 was a huge success.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I don't know what Glory's got to do. I like the sort of Bellator-esque structure they've got. Well, you know, they'll do a four-man tournament for, you know, the next guy who gets a shot at the title. You've got, you know, fighters who are so fucking good. Schilling, Levin, Verhoeven, Valentini, Holzkin, Risti, all these dudes, but I don't know. It's frustrating as a fan of Glory seeing how fun the sport is, and I don't know what it lacks. You know, Glory, the first card I watched was that, I think it was like Glory 9 or Glory 10 or 11. It was the one in Chicago. It was the one where Verhoeven won the little tourney. And the presentation was awesome, and I got hooked. And I don't know what it's gonna take, to be totally honest.
Bob the Beast Sapp. I would pay money to see him fight. You know, they need They need a gimmick. All right, even the UFC's using gimmicks now. CM Punk. I mean, it's time, man. The chime is now.
The time is now. We'll move on. We'll talk about Hector Lombard and his failed drug test, and it's just another disappointing failed drug test news as the UFC is starting to test more and more guys randomly out of competition. You're seeing more and more guys fail. Lombard is the most recent victim. I guess you can't really call him a victim. But before we criticize him for the failed drug test, I want to play this clip that Ramses, you actually steered me toward just a few minutes before we went live. This is Lombard. It's some sort of, it looks like a bodybuilding expo. He's sitting in front of just like stacks of jars of whey,
powder, creatine.
Yeah, powder, what the fuck ever, and a bunch of idiots with lanyards around their necks walking around. But that's not the story here. The story is Lombard going off on Adrian Bronner, who in the past has said some negative things about MMA, about fighters in MMA, all of that. And I don't think Lombard took very kindly to those comments. This is what he had to say.
The only boxer that I dislike,
okay,
is Adrian Bronner.
Why?
Because they talk shit.
He's a nice guy.
He pissed me off, man.
Well, he's fighting John Molina March 7th.
I hope he gets smashed. I hope he gets beat up.
Why?
He's a piece of trash.
You think so?
He talks a lot bad. He talks bad about MMA fighters. What do you talk bad about MMA fighters, you? Adrian Bronner? I'll bet you up. I'll beat the shit out of you in boxing. I don't need to use kicks, knees, none of that. I'll beat the hell out of you in boxing. And I'll go to your gym and I'll beat you up there.
Have you ever thought of doing boxing, just boxing?
I start with him.
You start with him?
I will beat him up. Adrian Bronner, I'll beat you up. I'll beat the shit out of you. And stop talking bad about MMA fighters, you douchebag. If you think it's easy, what we do, why you don't go and do it? It's gotta be easy cash. It's gotta be easy cash for you, right? So why you don't go and do it? You're gonna get knocked out anywhere you go. You can't fuck with us.
He's a 3-time champion.
I don't care about him boxing.
But he's talented in boxing.
Yeah. But he talk a lot of trash about us. Why?
I don't know.
I respect boxing. I love boxing. You know, I grew up watching boxing. You know, I respect the fighters. But I don't respect him at all.
How about this fight? You have Amir Khan, Miguel Cotto. Who do you like? Why are you laughing?
Cotto for sure.
She's Puerto Rican, right?
Are you Puerto Rican?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. You see, he's on Cuba.
I don't know. Does he have any more comments on?
I think that's it. He just flirts with the Puerto Rican girl.
Listen, Lombard, you're a joke. You know, you can fight, bro. You can fight MMA. You're jealous because what we do is for real. You know, you can fight on the floor. You can submitting in there less than a second. You know, you don't know how to check kicks. You don't know how to do a thing. You get beat up, bro. Stop talking about us. Do your own thing in boxing. If you think it's easy what we do, go and do it. I bet you're gonna get knocked out quick.
What?
So that's like Cuban and
So that's Hector Lombard saying he's going to get knocked out quick. Is that fair to say, oh, well, if you want to criticize MMA, you have to fight? Honestly, I think it's hilarious because Bronner is a douchebag. Like, that's the persona he plays, and I fucking love it. Like, I don't know. It's weird, and I blame our friend Yao for turning me into a fan of basically the heels in boxing, Floyd and Bronner. But it's just a ridiculous persona, and Lombard's feeding right into it, calling him a piece of shit. He wants to fight him. I don't think he realizes that that's the response that Bronner tries to elicit in people. Whether he probably talks shit about MMA for no other reason than to piss off MMA fans.
Is Broner the guy that he was like, I just beat the fuck out of a Mexican? Is he that guy?
That's Broner.
That guy is a fucking douche, man. I hope Lombard tears him in half while he's suspended.
I'm still Adrian, the problem, Broner. The can man. Anybody can get it. Africans, I just beat the fuck out of a Mexican. No, come on.
No, come on.
Africans, I just beat the fuck out of a Mexican. No, come on.
No, come on.
Let's show some class and dignity.
The old man calling for dignity.
Yeah, when he fought Paulie Malignaggi, he in the post-fight speech after beating him was like, "I took your belt and your girl," like just ruthless.
He probably
ruthless.
did too.
Adrian, the problem, Bronner. He's fighting March 7th on NBC against John Molina Jr. But
he runs into Hector.
Yeah, right. Jesus Christ. Lombard gets popped, though. He was going to fight Rory McDonald in what likely could have been a title-eliminating match in the welterweight division. Instead, just another fighter pops really quickly. If you have not heard it yet, when you're done listening to this show, go listen to, I believe it was the 10th episode of the FRB show. In fact, I'll check right now with Larry Pepe. Yeah, FRB show number 10. You can listen to it at soundcloud.com/FRB show/FRB10. Or subscribe on iTunes, all of that. Front Row Brian show is really fucking good. He had Larry Pepe on, along with who's now the co-host Filthy Tom Lawler. Larry Pepe is a bodybuilding expert and knows a lot about steroids, knows more about steroids than anyone in the MMA media, anyone that the MMA media is talking to, and he broke down steroids and PEDs in mixed martial arts better than anyone I've ever heard. I almost want to go through and find clips and play them on this show, but because I'm lazy and because I want you to go listen to the FRB show for real, go listen, soundcloud.com/FRB show/FRB10. And he broke it down so wonderfully, and talks about how the drug Silva took. You've got a lot of fans saying, "Oh yeah, of course he was on steroids. He shattered a bone in his leg and was trying to heal, and steroids help a body heal. So I don't know why, folks are so pissed that he's just trying to heal his leg." And Larry's like, no, the drug he tested for, Masterone, is not a steroid you take for healing. It's a steroid that's a weight-cutting steroid. As most steroids make you hold in water, which is not very good for fighters. So fighters will a lot of times take Masterone, and bodybuilders too, because when they're flexing and shit, they don't want to have water in their system. So you take Masterone, which is basically one of the few steroids that you take, and it still allows you to build muscle while it helps you cut water weight and all that. Broke it down beautifully. The other quote I wanted to get him on, he said, if you really think 70 to 80% of fighters in MMA are on steroids, then you essentially think that 100% of fighters 170 and above are on steroids, because from lightweight, welterweight, and above, the effects of steroids are going to be a lot greater. You're going to be able to punch harder, whereas if you're a flyweight, a bantamweight, a featherweight, not saying that none of them do it, I'm sure some of them do, but the effects of steroids aren't going to be as great, and you probably actually want to not do them so you can jump around, be super fast, a la Mighty Mouse, where, steroids, you put on a lot of muscle and you weigh 125. That doesn't really allow you to be a quick fighter. But yeah, a lot of really good stuff, but it is an epidemic. Fighters, a few weeks ago, we're talking about the fighters who had tested positive. 2 weeks ago, Anderson. A week ago, more fighters. This week, it's Hector. I guess it's a good thing overall, because the UFC is now doing this random out of competition stuff. And we're going to find the fighters who are dirty, and it will be a huge incentive for fighters to be clean. But, man, what are your thoughts? I've been droning on for fucking ever now. What are your thoughts on this PED epidemic in the sport right now?
Well, it is an epidemic. I will agree with that. But I go higher than 70 to 80% of fighters using PEDs. Like I've always said, I believe it is actually 100%.
So you're saying Kelvin uses?
Yes. 100% of it. Every fighter has taken something, had a little powder in their protein shake that shouldn't have been there. I mean, come on. Everybody's tried a few different things to put on some mass, get quicker, recover. I'm not saying that Kelvin is like shooting himself up with a needle. I'm just saying, at one point or another, 100% of fighters have probably taken I'm saying they've taken something that would get them.
But are they currently on something?
That depends. There's a lot of fear and a lot of poverty in the MMA community preventing people from using right now at the moment. There's a cloud floating over everybody. Everybody's watching their back.
Sonen's
goddamn Red Scare.
Sonnen said it best. The best test for seeing if a guy's on steroids, the eye test. Just look at him, and do they look like they're roiding?
Right. There's that, of course. Like, you can obviously, Kung Lee, who
yeah,
give me a fucking break, man. And then John Fitch in his last fight, he had veins that were never there before, muscle. He was ridiculous, man. And then Hector Lombard, come on. So yeah, there's that type of eye test.
The best non-roided athlete of all, or fighter of all time, BJ Penn.
Nah, he was probably using more juice than everyone else.
Beer and hot dogs. If we're talking about the eye test, show me one weigh-in where BJ Penn looked like he was roiding. That guy was on beer and hot dogs. That's it.
No, the massive fluctuations in weight. I don't believe that was completely unassisted.
I like the fluctuations are just like Kelvin or Johnny. He just would not be in shape between fights.
I saw this dude fight Machida at heavyweight or some shit, man.
Exactly.
And then how did he ever come back? He always had that comeback.
He has a
right?
frame where he could fight at featherweight, and he fought at 205 because he just didn't like getting in shape for fights.
Look, man, the dude lives in Hawaii. He lives on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. If
And he runs with rocks underwater.
If someone's coming to test him, he's going to know that plane's coming at least a week in advance. All right? It's a little island. That's all I'm saying, man. Everybody's wheezing the juice. Everybody. I don't care. The people that are the most vocal about it, rubbing it in, being like, I can't wait to see them caught. The people calling for people to get caught for more drug testing and applauding this bullshit, they're probably juicing more than everyone else.
Why take juice if all of these fights are works, though?
Because why do the fucking WWE guys take juice when every single fight is a work? It's the exact same thing. It's all sports entertainment, and I love it, and I'll continue to pay for it. Let the juice loose. Let it flow. Wheeze that juice. I don't give a damn. I just want to see entertaining fights. Now that we're all becoming more and more convinced that everyone's juiced, people are going to start. It's like when you see like a bunch of snuff films, for a couple of years every night, like you become like numb to it. And that's what's going to happen with the steroid thing, and that's the word on the street. Snuff.
That is the word. If you are listening and you want to call on the numbers 213-457-3380, or you can Skype us at the MMA Podcast. Talk about PEDs, talk about whatever. It is open topic. Phone lines are open. Whatever you want to talk about. I guess there's going to be a presser a week from today, Wednesday afternoon, with Dana and Lorenzo, and they're going to talk about PEDs, which is funny because they're both on more PEDs than half the fighters in the UFC. What do you think is going to be the announcement? Hey guys, we're gonna stop doing out of competition testing because we realized how ridiculous the problem is. What is the big announcement going to be? Or like most recent pressers, are they going to say they have a big announcement and then walk out and be like, nah?
Unfortunately, in my ideal world, what I would love is for Lorenzo and Dana to come out and say, just fuck this. It's sports entertainment. Enough with the drug testing. It's just costing us money and it's burning our stars. We all know the truth anyway. We're done kidding ourselves. I mean, come on. How many more got to get popped before everyone figures it out? Like the jig is up. That's what I would love to hear them say. Unfortunately, this is going to be them probably doubling down on their whole stance against PEDs. They're going to announce some new sort of policy or measure or punishment, some sort of new policy. It's just going to be your average, PR press conference. Everybody's going to eat it up. But I hate to say it, dog and pony show, because you can't change the truth. Truth is, all right, if you don't want to go 100%, most of the fighters are on the juice, all right? Let's just give me that. Grant me that for 1 second for argument's sake. Most of the fighters are on the juice. So this press conference saying they're going to be stricter. It's just going to be a whitewash. It's just I don't even believe there's no
okay, we'll say
solution to this problem.
51% of fighters are on the juice.
All right, fine, the majority. But yeah, you can't stop this. You cannot. It's as pointless as the war on drugs was. You can't win.
Well, what if they keep doing what they're doing? What if they keep doing out of competition tests? More, we just get a crazy amount. I mean, I think we literally have had more fighters get popped for PEDs in 2015 than we did in 2014, and we're only a month, a week, and 4 days in. We're going to have a lot of fighters get popped. And what if more and more fighters get popped? That's going to be a very big message to fighters who are using, which, I mean,
That's the problem.
Think about it. Jacare just pulled out of his fight in California at UFC 184 because he got quote unquote injured. You really think he got injured, or you think he realized, oh shit, the UFC is doing random out of competition testing. I'm fighting in the US. I don't want to get popped. I'm going to pull out of this fight and go into my next fight clean because they're testing now. I think a lot of fighters are going to be persuaded big time to stop using, which is great. And I've said it a million times, it sucks for fighters who have done it, because once you do it, if you want to stay at an elite level of fitness, you have to keep doing it. You can't stop. So once you do it, if you have to stop, you're going to be at a giant disadvantage. And it sucks for fighters who fought in the old guard, like Dan and Jacare and all these guys who fought in Japan, where they specifically tell you that they weren't testing for steroids. So you just know your opponent's roiding up, so you probably got to roid up too. And it's unfair to those fighters. And I wish there was a magic machine that showed, okay, well, before he did steroids, he naturally made testosterone to this level. So we can give him this amount of testosterone and get him to a normal level, and it'll all be fine. But it's not a perfect world. We can't do that. And the only real thing we can do is stop letting them use, because it's got really bad side effects long term for the rest of your life. And we can't just have a sport that still in 50, 60 years, we have, 18, 21-year-old kids who are starting to fight and they take steroids and their endocrine system is fucked up for the rest of their lives.
There's no solution, man. It's like the war on drugs. You can bust the biggest stars, which we've seen. Anderson Silva, Chael Sonnen. You can bust the biggest stars. People still get caught, still using anyway. There is no deterrent. The only solution is like the one in real life has to be with the war on drugs. You just got to legalize it, man. You're in Denver, Colorado. You know what I'm talking about. You legalize it. You get rid of the shadiness. You get rid of the people that have to cheat, live in fear. And we're talking about, what I mean is drugs that are just a person is taking to increase the output and performance of their body or heal more rapidly, recover more quickly. I'm not talking about people just looking to get high or whatever and then fight. There's a difference there. It's the year 2015. We have new medical procedures and science advancements. It's time to embrace them. Legalize the steroids. Quit destroying people's legacies over bullshit that they were taking just to get their bodies in better condition. And it's not cheating if everyone's doing it. That's the most ridiculous part. And again, I have to say, everyone is doing it. That is the word on the street.
Everyone's doing it. There's nothing possible to fix it. Ramses, this is doom and gloom. I need answers. I need solutions.
Cody McKenzie probably isn't using because he has no money. All right, so there's always exceptions like him. But trust me, if he had the money, of course he would be juicing and fighting and winning. Of course he would. What's he gonna do? Go back out fishing for crabs out in Alaska again? Risking his life out in the ocean? Nah. He's got a better shot in the cage. Just legalize it, man. That's my solution. That's the only way to go with this. That's it. It's normal. Word on the street.
Word on the street. And, we had talked about PEDs. We talked about Dana and Lorenzo planning that presser. You mentioned this before the show as a joke, but it's probably more of a reality. There probably will be no the MMA podcast next week, because after talking about this, we're both probably going to get taken out pretty swiftly during the night. But I got to talk about it because it is the scuttlebutt. Lorenzo Fertitta Married man, billionaire, co-owner of Stations Casinos and Zuffa LLC, the UFC, all that good stuff. He sends a tweet to Chrissy Blair, one of these attractive ring card girls with the UFC. Tweets her at midnight saying, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" What do you make of this, Ramsey? You think he wanted to get her in for a calendar shoot, maybe, business, have her sign a few posters for some kids in a hospital?
Well, what I think is that the UFC is the greatest MMA organization in the history of the planet Earth, and that Lorenzo and what he's done for the sport, he deserves it. I know there's no Hall of Fame for the MMA right now, but he should be in there. He is a pioneer, an entrepreneur.
He is.
A gentleman.
He and Dana have steered the UFC, and the UFC has been historically the most important organization in the sport's history, bar none.
He's a great owner, philanthropist, boss, family man, father, husband. That's why I don't believe that the tweet was real at all. I think it was either fake or, of course, he was hacked. And if he was hacked, we all know it was super callow. But I don't believe that it was him.
Fuck
because
you, Callow.
Yeah, the tweet itself just doesn't make any sense. Why he doesn't need to DM for puss, and then he didn't use any capitalization or punctuation. This man is a college-educated scholar. He's a genius. I don't believe that he sent this tweet. I think that maybe we should be looking more at Chrissy Blair. What is she doing to attract this unwanted harassment of Lorenzo?
Ariane was probably in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, yes, it's leash week for her.
But whatever happened to what's her name? Shondella? Was that the black ring card girl? Shondella, and she got exposed. She did a nude photo shoot a decade ago and got cut or something. Is that what fucking happened?
Yeah, she tragically died. She was found floating face dead in the MGM Grand Pool. That was a couple years ago. They got swept under the rug.
Holy shit.
Well, Lorenzo had nothing to do with that either. I just don't believe that he's out there DMing for puss. And even if he was, let's just suppose maybe in some crazy world he's DMing Octagon girls for puss. Let's assume that, all right? Just hypothetically. Who amongst us hasn't tweeted at some pussy in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Or texted some puss?
Hashtag Seth Rollins.
Who's going to throw the first stone here? Ain't going to be me. I don't even believe this shit happened. And that's the bottom line, because it's the word in the street, because I said so.
Because you fucking said so. Yeah, I guess we won't dwell on it, because maybe one day, I want to have a family and all of that, and
you're already dead.
If we keep talking, we're already dead. I like how he and Dana are both family men, but on all the UFC embeddeds, Dana's going out to play blackjack till 2 in the fucking morning. This motherfucker.
No, there was that one episode where Dana was back home for his kid's birthday, and then that night he got drunk and bought a smart car or something.
It's ridiculous.
I guess he had to get away from the family to get drunk and buy a smart car. But God bless him. He did it. He earned that money and the right to do what he wants to do and be who he wants to be. And his kids are well taken care of. How many other men could say the same?
Whenever you kill us, make it quick. We'll move on. Brendan Schaub, the host of The Fighter, and the kid The show gets a lot of shit, but I actually like it. Schaub apparently looks like he might be moving down to 205. Nothing's official. He hasn't said anything yet. But our boy Ross Finkelstein, who, if you're not following him on Twitter, E before the L, Ross Finkelstein, sent out a retweet of Schaub's where it shows a very, very lean-looking Schaub with a carrot saying, some shit about being on a diet. And then follows that up with, looks like Schaub might be moving down. And I think he has a point. Brendan Schaub at 205. What do you think about that? I'll let you speak on it before I get into it.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense at all. I haven't seen the picture yet, but I don't know if he can make that weight. I don't know if he has the discipline. This sounds more like something Rogan got high and told him he should do.
Yeah,
he's just doing it.
He's spoken on it. Schaub has spoken on it on his own show, saying basically there's no way I could cut down to 205, but maybe he's making a practice cut and just seeing. I don't know. The guy looks pretty skinny when he weighs in at like 240, so to lose an additional, I don't think he tries to cut water weight, so maybe he's thinking if he really cut down on the water weight, he can get down to like 215, 220, so maybe he only needs to lose like 5 or 10 pounds of body fat, even though he doesn't have much body fat on him. He's a big guy. If he could cut down to 205, I think he could. I don't know if he could crack that top 3, top 4 with, Rumble, Cormier, Gus, Jones, but he could pose threats for a lot of guys, Bader, OSP, Manawa.
Yeah, man. I don't know. He hasn't said anything, so I'm just throwing this out there. It's possible that he's not cutting weight or anything. It's possible that he has AIDS. Word on the street.
Brendan Schaub has AIDS. You heard it here first on the MMA Podcast. Moving on. What else do we have? A few fights made. The first one we'll talk about was made today. It's going to go down in New Orleans. I should have had the link in front of me, or at least when it happens. It's going to go down. Daniel Cormier fighting Ryan Bader in New Orleans. I'll pull the date and the event up in a second. But I think this is a horrible stylistic matchup for Bader. No matter really where the fight goes, I think Cormier has an advantage, except for maybe going for submissions. I know locking in a sub is one of DC's weak points, but Bader is a wrestler and kind of has strong boxing, but Cormier has better wrestling and has looked like a beast standing up. I don't think Bader has a chance here.
I think that Bader does actually have a chance. I believe that Daniel Cormier's will has been broken from losing to John Jones. This is just it's a tune-up fight for him. It should be, but I think he's going to struggle. In fact, I will go as far as to predict that he will miss weight for this fight. I'm predicting it right now. I'm calling it right now. I don't think he has the spirit anymore. The will, the determination. He's all about that cake and chicken. All right? I don't think he's going to make weight. I think Ryan Bader is going to expose him even more than John did. Cormier will probably win a decision. This fight has all the markings and makings of being one of the most horrible fights we've ever seen in the UFC, though.
It's another dark. I don't know what the fuck is up. We have a very dark forecast from the word on the street tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
It's hard times.
God damn. And yeah, that fight will be June 6th, UFC Fight Night 68 at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, right across the street from the Superdome. What the fuck else is going on? We have announced today, actually. I think it was today or yesterday. Frankie Edgar, he's going to be taking on Uriah Faber. The fight's going to be at 145, so Faber's moving up. I don't know whether this is going to be a long-term thing. It would make sense either way because it is somewhat of a super fight. Both of these guys are future UFC Hall of Famers. Faber's never lost in a non-title fight, and Frankie Edgar's just an absolute monster. He just demolished Penn. He just beat Swanson, who was on top of the list for a title shot at 45. Faber's moving up, like I said, if it's long term or not. It would make sense if it was, because his current teammate and friend TJ Dillashaw is the current bantamweight champion. So if he is able to beat Edgar, it would make sense for him to stay at 45, because beating Frankie would probably put him in the front of the line or very close to a title shot against the winner of Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor at UFC. I think it's going to be 189. Unfortunately, none of our American listeners are probably going to be able to see this fight live. It's going to be in Manila in the Philippines, May 16th at the MOA Arena. I don't know if the setup is going to be one where American viewers have to stay up late and watch the card, or like we've seen a lot more recently lately, they put on the fight at like 3:30 a.m. locally in Manila, so fighters over in America can watch it prime time here. It's going to be a fun fight. I'm really leaning toward Frankie, though. Frankie, I don't know, he's a natural 45er, just has looked so crisp. Faber, he's really good, but he's starting to show age. He has 39 fights. This will be his 40th fight, where Frankie's just going into his 23rd fight, although Frankie has taken a ton of damage in some of his fights. I just think, looking at it style-wise, Frankie is a hell of a takedown stuffer. I don't think Faber is going to be able to bring it to the mat. I think Frankie's going to make this a boxing match and keep range, not let Faber land any of those devastating knees or elbows, and Frankie will outpoint him to a 5-round decision. What do you think?
This fight is, like, at first I wanted to just hate everything about this fight, and I didn't even know why. But, like, now, like, you know, I'm thinking about it. It's going to be a fun fight. It's interesting. It's a shake-up. Of course, Faber's just going to have his hands wrapped like Mickey Mouse gloves, and he's going to get his hands broken in the fight. But Frankie's gonna, you know, hopefully he's still got that movement, that bobblehead movement. Like when you slap a bobblehead, like he can do that, man. It's for real. But these guys are, damn. Everything comes down to, I'm tired of bashing fighters, but these guys are on the decline. Like, they're not on, nobody's like fighting towards something, I don't believe. I don't care what the hell they promise is going to be the title implications of this or whatever. It's just that these guys, I don't see either of these guys winning the belt again, even no matter how many title fights they have. Just for some reason, I don't see it happen. You can just kind of feel it, man. And they got to know it too. So hopefully this will just be a fun, entertaining fight. I'll take Frankie Edgar, though. Just because, you know, you want to vote on the little guy, and also, you know, I'm just hearing some things about Faber. And I've never heard anything about Frankie being an asshole. So I'll even bet on Frankie. I will bet on him. I'm confident that he will actually whoop Uriah Faber's ass.
Oops. You're going to whoop Faber's ass. If we ever get Faber on the show, do I have your permission to play that clip?
Yeah, man. I've never said anything about a fighter that I would not say like online or on the phone to them.
Speaking of that,
on Twitter. In person, I would never say any of this shit.
Would you ever shit talk Matt Brown to his face?
Not in person. I heard he'll whoop your ass. What have you heard?
Yeah, there's this Reddit post that went up, I think today. Was it today? Yeah, it was like a few hours ago. The too long didn't read version of it. Basically, the guy posting it is reposting a Facebook post from his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor, where his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor talks about a confrontation with a UFC fighter. Apparently, the guy posting it is saying, like, oh, well, I know the only UFC fighter who trains there is Matt Brown, so it's got to be him. And apparently the BJJ instructor posts this long Facebook rant alleging that a UFC fighter, who the guy is suspecting to be Matt Brown, assaults him after an argument and broke a bunch of stitches the BJJ instructor had in his eye. And according to the instructor, the only witness was Brown's Muay Thai coach, who lied to the police and covered his ass. And then, a bunch of bullshit after that. I don't know if I believe it, honestly. Like, I'm not going to till I see a police report and all that and start hearing more about this story. This could be some bullshit, but I don't know. It's one of these things that's starting to snowball and pick up a lot of steam.
I don't know. It sounds like bullshit.
It does.
But at the same time,
it's fun to talk about shit.
Nobody would be surprised. Like, I don't know too much about Matt Brown. Does it say like specifically what the alleged beef was about that caused it?
Yeah, I can read up in it. I don't know. Basically, he just said something to Brown that Brown didn't like, and Brown punched him in his
does it say
eye.
what, though?
I would have to read this very fucking long thing. It just says,
Christ.
this UFC fighter who I coached till the day of the incident assaulted me with multiple punches in the head while I was sitting in the chair behind the desk. Makes it even worse. He knew about my eye condition and the eye surgery I had.
Yeah.
He also knew I had 16 internal stitches, blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
Well, Matt Brown, if he's whooping somebody's ass, I gotta believe there's a valid reason for it. He doesn't take any bullshit. So this guy must have given him some. I don't believe that he would just turn violent unprovoked.
I'm scanning through it. The truth is, we were having an argument, and he started to yell, "If you keep talking, I can't fucking talk," and repeated that a few times. Yeah, I guess they were yelling at each other. The instructor wasn't letting Brown get his point in. Brown
That's
apparently yells,
point.
if you keep talking, I can't fucking talk." Repeated that a few times
argument.
before he went crazy and flipped the glass table of the desk to the floor and came after me with multiple punches on my head while I was sitting in the chair.
So he did the John Jones on ESPN. Like, did I not let you finish or whatever the fuck?
Ooh, this is where I'm thinking this guy's full of shit, because you read further down. Then his coach was between me and him, and I said, "You are a piece of shit coward, because you know I can't fight back. If I could, we would fight till someone died here. I don't punch not because I don't have the balls, but because I can go blind forever." So that's what he claims.
That sounds like total made up movie shit right there.
That sounds, yeah, like that definitely fucking happened.
You're a coward. I would beat the shit out of you. This was real fights of death.
And the whole story about the coach lying to the cops being the only witness, if you're all bloodied up, it isn't like they're just like, yeah, nothing happened, he punched himself. This has sounded more and more like bullshit the more this is a really long post too.
This dude's story is already sounding like complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, I bet like the gist of it is kind of true, but his quotes and like he's like all of a sudden the hero in the story.
Yeah.
Oh man, you gotta love it. You know he would. You know Matt Brown beat the shit out of him and embarrassed him as a man.
Probably.
Yep. Probably had sex with his wife.
Word on the fucking street. Let's move on. We have one more fight to break down. Donald Cerrone and Habib Nurmagomedov. It's going to be UFC 187. I don't know if it's been announced as the co-main, but it's likely a lightweight title eliminator fight. The winner of this fight will probably fight the winner of Pettis and Rafael Dos Anjos. The fight going down at UFC 185 in Dallas, Texas, March 14th, just about a month from today. A month and 2 or 3 days, depending what time zone you're in. How are you leaning here? I love Cerrone. He's one of my favorite fighters. I'm going to be rooting for him hard. But stylistically, this is not a very good matchup for him. And Habib is scary. Habib has shown virtually no weakness. He's one of a handful of fighters in the UFC who still has an undefeated record. I don't know. He's just got this suffocating judo wrestling style where no matter what the opponent brings into the cage against him, it's the same story. They just get tied up and thrown around and beat up until the fight's over, whether it's via stoppage or it goes to a decision, which we've seen a lot lately with Nurmagomedov. Cerrone's exciting. I think he's better for the sport just because he's so engaging with fans and so personable. And, even when he's in the co-main event, he's usually the highlight of the UFC embedded shows because the guy is always out doing crazy, ridiculous shit, flying in airplanes, going on snowmobiles the week of the fight. Nurmagomedov, although he seems to have a good personality, I don't know how good his English is. I don't know how engaging with fans he really is. That being said, if I had to bet on it, let me see if odds are up yet. Probably not because it was announced pretty recently. But I don't know how much I like Donald's odds. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the Cowboy is fucked on this one. Even though he's on a streak, he's looked good. At the same time, like everyone's expecting him to lose the next fight, and that's for a reason. Now they're giving him a damn wrestler a problem. All right, so if Habib does everything correctly, takes him down. Just keeps the pressure going. If he does that correctly, if he doesn't fuck that up, he will beat this man. He will beat the Cowboy. And but at the same time, man, you don't know if Khabib's gonna show up or not.
Khabib.
But you know that lately Cerrone has been showing up. He's been serious. So for that reason alone, I call this a no bet. I don't know who's gonna win. Like I said, if Khabib does everything correctly, he will win. But I won't bet that he will. Too close to call. No bet, at least according to the word on the street.
That's right. And man, I don't know if we have any more news topics before we break down this weekend's UFC and Bellator cards real quick. Last call for phone calls. I guess the listeners are feeling shy. They don't want to call in tonight. But if you do want to call in quick because we are going to be shutting this shit down in a few minutes here, I guess. Bellator, we have two fights really I want to talk about. A fight between Pat Curran and Daniel Weichel, and a fight between Alexander Shlemenko and Melvin Manhoef at middleweight. Thoughts on either one of these?
Shlemenko, isn't he the guy that took a dive for Tito?
That's the guy.
Yeah, so he's either owed this win or it's going to be another dive. So unfortunately, I didn't really tell you anything there, but that's how I feel. And this other fight, I've never even heard of these two gentlemen, but I wish them all the best of luck. I hope one of them kills the other, and I'll watch
both
that
of them
highlight.
Both of them seem like pretty easy picks for me. We'll likely see Curran win a decision, and Shlemenko finish the fight against Manhoef. I don't even know if this goes a full round and a half, people. Bet the under, 1.5 rounds. Bet the under. We also have a World Series of Fighting 8-18 card that really isn't that notable, because the only fighter of note on it, Marlon Moraes, is a giant minus 750 favorite over Josh Hill. That is going to be Thursday night, WSOF 18, Bellator 133, going to be the next night, Friday night, and then Saturday night, UFC Fight Night 60 in Broomfield, not too far away from me. It's going to be at the First Bank Center in Broomfield, which is literally 10 minutes away from Denver, right between Denver and Boulder. A lot of fun fights, actually. Not just because I'm biased and there's a lot of local talent, but a few fights are really underrated. I really like Patrick Walsh versus Dan Kelly. As far as betting locks, Magny's a lock. Ray Borg is a lock. Who else? Nick Lentz is basically a lock. I think even though I like Cole Miller, I think Max Holloway is almost a lock. The guy has looked great. Even in his fight against Conor, I mean, he maybe gave Conor his hardest fight in the UFC to date. Definitely a tougher fight than Dustin or Seaver gave him. Max, a really good fighter. Who else is fighting? Tim Elliott versus Zach Fun-Size Makovsky. Those are two really underrated flyweights. Two guys who are probably going to be in the UFC for the next 5 or 6 years and be floating in that top 10, and both have the potential to eventually fight for the title. James Muntasri, Allen's boy, is probably going to win. Like I said, Borg and Lentz seem like easy locks for me. Kevin Lee against Michael Prazeres seems like an interesting fight, but I'm giving it to Lee there. I think that's about it. Magny is probably going to roll over Kichi Kunimoto. Alan's going to be sad about that. Any fights stand out to you before we get to Bindo versus Thatch and send this out to the internet?
The only fight that I'm actually excited for is Max Holloway.
Yeah,
I am a believer. I think he's one of the best in the division. Just kind of got screwed in his last couple fights. I think they were almost all splits. So I still believe in him. He just needs to learn how to turn it on, trigger it on, and figure it out.
4-0 since losing to Conor.
God bless him, man. I think he's one of the best. He's underrated, that's for damn sure. But I believed in him since the beginning. And yes, the back tattoo is a ripoff of Benson, and it looks really stupid. But the dude can fight his ass off, so don't bring it up. Word on the street.
Don't bring that shit up. Benson and Henderson and Brandon Thatch. This is an interesting one. This is a Bindo who is in a position I don't know if we've seen him in since being in Zuffa. He's lost 2 in a row. The former 4 or 5-time champ lost his belt to Pettis. Won a couple after that, but since then he lost a pretty one-sided fight to Dos Anjos, and then had a very, very close fight against Cerrone that a lot of folks called a robbery, but Bindo's been on his fair share of the robbery side of a robbery. Bindo, I don't know. Bindo moving up to 170. He's talked about it in the past. He does look very, very, very hollow at 155. So maybe him bulking up to welterweight is a good move. Brandon Thatch on the other side of the cage hasn't fought since 2013. Been injured. His opponent Stephen Thompson needed to back out of the fight because he got injured. And one interesting thing about this fight I noticed, about a week ago, the betting line was really skewed toward Thatch. Thatch was like, minus 150, minus 160. In the last week, the line is just about evened out to being dead even on a lot of books where both guys are minus 110, which means a lot of money's coming in on Bindo. So if you subscribe to the Ramsey's theory of works, you would say that there was a leak and the word got out about what the finish was going to be, and they're trying to get Bindo back in the win column. And a lot of money came in on Vegas for Bindo, so the line sort of evened out. What I'm thinking, because I'm not the Alex Jones of MMA like Ramsey's, I'm thinking that Brandon Thatch has got this. He's got amazing striking, and Bindo, I don't know, his striking has gotten worse in the last few years. He you know, when he had the belt and he was piecing up Nate Diaz, he looked phenomenal. But in fights recently against Cerrone and Dos Anjos, he's looked totally flat. I don't know what it is. I don't know if him losing will light that spark again. But yeah, his fight against Thatch isn't an easy one. Thatch is a killer. He finishes everyone in the third round. It's funny how Bindo is all of a sudden saying he's repping Colorado again, even though I guess he was born in Colorado. He throws up the A for Arizona whenever he wins. So how the fuck are you gonna rep Colorado, dude? Thatch is a real Coloradan, from the area that I'm from, and I've only been here 1 or 2 years. He's been here his whole life. Local hero. I mean, when I went to Glory 16 and RFA 11, I saw him walking around just mobbed with fans trying to get pictures and autographs and all that. So he'll definitely have the arena behind him, and I think Thatch finishes it. What do you think? Cap it off for us before we end the show. Benson Henderson versus Brandon Thatch. Who you got?
I'll go with Brandon Thatch, even though if he was standing right in front of me at this moment, I would not know who he was. I'll go with him. Excuse me. But the Benson Henderson decline that we're seeing, you're onto it. I mean, it's obvious. He doesn't have that same gusto, the heart, the eye of the tiger, the champion. You don't see that anymore. That is because he is still trying to recover his dignity, his honor, his self-worth after having verbally submitted his UFC championship belt away to Tony Pettis. All right? He didn't even get submitted or nothing. He screamed and yelled and said, "You got this," and that broke him.
Since then, that fire has seemed lacking. I mean, even in his fights against Thompson and Kabalov, Thompson, he should have lost that fight. I think most fans who watched that thought that the Punk won. And Kabalov, he looked pretty shaky early, but was able to get, I think it was his first finish since he joined the UFC. I mean, he was finishing no fight since switching over in late 2010.
Yeah, man. Basically, Bendo, it's on the endo. I don't think he's got nothing left. Yeah, he'll win a couple fights here and there. His career is going to keep going, but will he ever win the belt back? I don't think he'll win the belt back. Nobody wants to see him win the belt back, really. He was one of the most boring UFC champions of all time, personality-wise. And, that's not exactly his fault. His manager allegedly did worship the devil. I guess that deal is up or the contract expired. I don't know. But, yeah, I'm going for Thatch on this one. But again, this one is a no bet for me. But that's usually when I'm calling no bets, that's a good sign of a solid card. Because that means the fights are close.
Speaking bets, the line for the rounds, over or under 2.5 rounds. Are you going over or under? It's going to be a 5-round fight.
I think it'll be a decision. Yeah, I think it'll. Yeah, like
fight goes to a decision is plus 135 in Vegas, so you'd more than double your cash.
I'll bet that, man. Yeah, any fight that's too close to call, you got to go with the decision.
My rule is if it's two guys where the announcers keep saying, these guys are pure strikers with knockout power, this fight might not even go a full minute. Bet that it goes the full decision, because I don't know why, but it seems like whenever two stiff strikers square off against one another, we never see a finish. It's the weirdest thing.
Damn right. It's like when Rogan says that's a wrap and he calls the submission, he's like, that's tight, it's in deep, it's all over. You know for a fact that motherfucker's about to kick out of said submission.
Oh, he got out of it. I don't know how he got out of that one, Mike.
Every time. And that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line, people. And I guess that's all we got. Thank you for listening. Like I said before, who else do we got to shout out to Mystery Meds for the outro we play at the end of the show. Like I said, Eddie Bravo and Smoke Serpent for the one at the start. The folks who call in a ton, we love the shit out of you. Davey Boy, DJ Jeans, Yeah, the Truth, Westland Eagle, AH, the original host, C. Lowenstein, who I hope we can get back on more shows in the near future. We love the shit out of you. I say it a million times. The support is awesome. If you like it, tell a friend. Blah, blah, blah. Ramses, what do you got for him?
Thank you, Jake, from the MMA Podcast, for having me on here again. I just want to say follow me on Twitter, the Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter. I do have the word in the street. And then just real quick, last thing. I know that she's listening right now, and I just want to say to Katie Bear, it's been a long time between us. I think that we're moving towards something here. I'm really excited about the future. And I guess I'll just come out and ask you, Kate, will you marry me? That's it. Word in the street.
We'll hopefully get an answer next week to that. We'll see you next week breaking down UFC Broomfield. We have another card after that. What is it? That UFC Fight Night Bigfoot versus Mir card in Brazil. And then before you know it, UFC 184. That'll be fun to talk about. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week. We gone.
Jake, tune into the MMA Podcast every Tuesday night.
The wild style, always been a foul child. Relax, sucker, I be the coming like Noah.
The MMA Podcast, Jake is the host. And since Ramsey's been in the wheelchair, the Aunt Jimmy Show has been on the road. I wanna say John Jones is a host, so I think that I'll pick up the phone and dial 213-457-3380. We got hot takes on the stove. You get blood on your clothes if you're sitting in the front row. I throw on my gi and then I lace the hoops. I'll have Gal lying down cause he ain't the truth. And if Alan wasn't a cop, I'd mention you. And shout out to Ross Finkelstein the Jew. Cause according to you, you're an MMA guru. Approved Bisbing lost his hands count Dooku. If you're a fancy boy, you get a 2-minute slot. Mystery wants a title shot. So listen to the MMA Podcast. Throw a high kick, but I block that. Call me TS, screaming George, where you at? I want the strap. But you know that I'll never tap. So listen to the MMA Podcast. Throw a high kick, but I block that. Call me TS, screaming George, where you at? I want the strap. And you know that I won't tap. Mystery. The MMA Podcast. Most of us just live and breathe this fighting shit. Shut up, Jake. Shut up, Jake.